what is up, people, or just person, because it's not like they're going to just suddenly say, hey. I mean, even if they do say, hey, at this point, they're late to the conversation. So, you know,
Um, there is a room for this somewhere, probably on YouTube at the moment, where people can go and talk to us.
if Google Play has anything to say about it, there's an app for that.
Yep. But I don't think anybody's going to come in, so
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're late. They missed the bell, dude. They don't get lunch. They have to wait.
oh yeah. Just like Joe Rogan has to wait to bang Kim.
I'm just saying, man. The dude went on for 45 minutes acting like he was running Kim Kardashian down. But who goes on for 45 minutes ranting about some chick unless they want to bang them? I mean, he's Joe Rogan. He ate bull balls on TV. Of course he's not going to turn Kim Kardashian down. He's a nasty dude.
Yeah, dude. He was talking about some type of scientific theory about how he believes the Big Bang was created by some nerds from CERN that were around a billion years ago and were fooling with the God particle. And then it just exploded, created a new universe, and now every 14 billion years it happens again. Some nerd pushes the button.
So not only does Joe Rogan want to bang Kim Kardashian indirectly, he believes CERN is 4 billion years old.
14 billion, and it's an infinite loop.
Wow. Here's the funny thing about all that. When we look at the edge of the universe using radio telescopes, and we can see people think, well, you can only see so far into the observable universe. People don't know what they're talking about, man. We have technology that allows us to see the very edge of the gamma wall of the universe. And it is 93.7 billion light years away. We have saw the edge of the universe. And here's something else that gets on my nerves about science. And I know people are like, well, who's this dude Gamers Girl I just talking to? Well, basically, I'm a guy that studies science, and I went crazy studying it. I am legit insane, okay? But my facts are solid. Okay, now here's the deal. 93 billion point 7 light years away is the gamma wall. That is the edge of the Big Bang. Now here's what's up. The universe is expanding. We all know this. Okay, so as of 93.7 billion years ago, we can see where the gamma wall was, but it has expanded for 93.7 billion years. So it's ever how much further out that it has expanded beyond that. When you look into space, what you're effectively seeing is you're seeing through time, because light, of course, you can only see things that reflect into your eye. That's how we see as light. If there was no light, there would be no sight.
Yep.
So when you look into space and you determine a light year, you're actually seeing back into time. Hell, when you look at the sun, you see the sun as it was 8 minutes ago, although I don't recommend looking directly at the sun because it doesn't care. It will blind you.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Here's the point that I want to get into. People want to say, well, the universe is flat. Well, the universe is curved. Well, the universe is shaped like a giant booty, complete with nipple. Well, the universe is shaped like a saddle. No. And people want to say the universe is infinite. Here is my point. How could an infinite universe ever have been contained within a singularity? You can't contain something infinite into a single space. That's not how physics work. The universe is not infinite. How is something that is infinite expanding? Something that is infinite does not need to expand. It is infinite.
Got a good point on that one.
I know I have a good point on that. I study science all day long, every day.
If it's infinite, it can't expand because it already runs the length of infinity.
Exactly. I mean, I could get into forces that exist outside this universe. People think of the universe and they think that that's all that there is. No. How could could you say that this universe is all that there is and then give it a term? If this universe is everything that there is, it couldn't have a term. How could you make a term like outside of this universe? How could you come up with multiverse theory if there weren't things already outside of the universe? Science has already disproven that the universe is infinite. And here's the thing. You get somebody that's like, oh, I finished sixth grade science class. I know science. The universe is infinite and shaped like a giant vagina. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. People want to think they really understand science when they don't read, they don't study, and they don't have all the concepts.
True.
It's just not right. They want to say, well, the universe is infinite, but it also came from a Big Bang. Well, they just contradicted themselves right there, and that's when I stopped listening to them.
I got you, Dick. You want to know my personal philosophy? It has nothing to do with science. It's just a motto of mine.
Sure.
I believe the universe is an octagon. You know why?
Well, I'm curious.
Because only the meanest of any species actually survives.
Now, nature would have you to believe that this, survival of the fittest or the strongest survive genetically. But is that necessarily true? The reason that I say this is, how does somebody determine value or worth? What if, at one point in life, a race of very intelligent, very loving, very kind individuals died just because they didn't have, the willingness to kill others? We are taught in our very cultural society to kill is wrong, to be stronger is wrong, to hurt people is wrong. But if someone actually believed that, well, then their people would already be dead. This is a dog-eat-dog world.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. It's an octagon because you got to fight to survive.
And I mean, it's true. It's true. You do have to fight for survival. It doesn't matter what philosophy you undertake. Even if you undertake the Zen Buddhist philosophy of peace and letting other people do whatever the hell they want, that is still a form of passive aggression.
Yep.
That is still telling others, I'm not like you. To the point of violence, I won't fight you. What the hell?
Well, look at our society today.
Well, I would just like to throw this in. People think that Zen Buddhists are so peaceful, right?
No, they ain't.
Well, yeah, that's what I was. Why did all these monks have these temples and study martial arts to be able to kick ass? Because to have their peace, well, they had to wage war and hurt somebody else.
They didn't really wage it. That was more of a self-defense thing. But I do understand where you're going with it.
Well, I mean, either way, if a Zen Buddhist truly believed in live and let live, why would they raise their hand to others? That kind of goes against what they were teaching. But they were willing to raise that hand, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. When it got too far, they did.
The Zen Buddhist philosophy is simply this. Leave us alone until we get pushed to the point where we can't take it anymore, and then we're going to dominate.
Yep.
They're just as warlike as anybody else. In a way, I hate to say this, Zen Buddhists were kind of like Talibans in that respect. And the reason that I say Talibans, I'm basically talking about, you may not want to put this on YouTube. I don't know. That's up to you. But
we're live right now, man.
Well, isn't that something?
I told you we was.
Okay, we've got these different religious groups. I'm not going to name names, okay? But I think after I get done discussing this, people will generally get the idea of what I'm talking about. We've got these religious groups over in the Middle East, and as far back as you can think, they have been fighting and killing and hurting and decapitating everyone that doesn't agree with them. And just as soon as they ruin that name and that group, well, they go and change their name and group and do it again, and it's the same people.
Oh, yeah. From Syrian to Taliban to Al-Qaeda to ISIS. Same people.
And next month it'll be Tinky Winky, and the month after that it'll be Poe.
Yeah, it'd just be a new name, same faction of people.
Here's the thing. It would be no different if you woke up one morning and decided that day you're not Tater anymore. That day you're Zimbabweal. And what does Zimbabweal do? Zimbabweal robs banks and drinks sodas while he does it. But after your day ended, you're no longer Zimbabweal. Now you're Catherine. And Catherine doesn't do what Zimbabweal does. Catherine embezzles and lies. You know, all it is changing a person's name and mission statement just to get the heat off of them so they can go and do it all again. And what really gets me is everybody's falling for it. You know, we want to allow all the refugees over into the country, right? And, let these refugees over here. They're not ISIS. They're not Taliban. They're not Al-Qaeda. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter what they call themselves. They kill and harm. And here's the proof. What about the Orlando tragedy? That wasn't an American that done that. That was, exactly. I don't want to just call out names and religions here, but the fact of the matter is we were told to allow these poor, innocent people into our country because they have no place to go. Well, they have nothing left to kill over there in the sand deserts.
Yep. I'll call them out. Shit, they're called Muslims, but there's different factions of Muslims, and there's I can't remember the name of them, but like 99% of them are something.
You're thinking of the Shiites.
Yeah, those are the ones that want to kill everybody, and the 1% that are like a new annexation, like Christians when they got the second part of the Bible with Jesus in it.
Mm-hmm.
See, those are like the 1% that don't want to do us harm. But the 1% are not getting in through this immigration because the other 99% is fucking it up for them.
You have to realize that if you have a founded belief that believes that to kill everything that doesn't agree with you, within that group, there's always going to be people that are not willing to kill. Within that group, there's always going to be people that possibly are good people. There's also going to be people that are possibly cowards and just choose not to fight. You know?
That's why I said 1% out of the 99.
The problem is that people are covering up the fact that holy war was declared. Jihad was declared. The Muslim religion itself declared war on everyone and everything that did not agree with them. And they didn't undeclare it. It's still going on. But instead, we've got people like Hillary Clinton and Obama saying, if we bend over just a little more and let them stick it in just a little deeper, it'll be okay. Come on, America, touch your toes.
Just a tip.
You know, it's just not working, man. People are. Ooh.
Well, see, that's why Britain left the United or the European United, which is basically like a subset of the UN or European Union. It's a subset of the United Nations that includes all of Europe and some of the other countries financially, like Japan was one of them that got hit when Britain left with $2 trillion.
Here's a quick suggestion for your video, brother. I watched your other one last night, and here's the dealio. There's only one thing about our talk videos that I think could be improved. You need to go through and insert some images because, I mean, people get tired of looking at the same screen for hours. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I've been.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I understand what you're saying. You can't let a rabid dog into your house and then expect it not to bite you.
Well, see, it comes from different philosophical views of people, man. You can't really blame the people that truly want peace truly haven't given up on the idea of peace. There are people out there, and I don't want to mention names, but we recently ran into a group of hippies, and this group of hippies believe that, well, if we just don't fight and we show them love, they will calm down and see the love. And what people don't realize is not all people are the same. Different people have different philosophical views. And it's not about love to certain people. It's about, can I dominate you and take all of your money? And that's all they care about.
That's what the world is, man. That's why it confuses me so much. You got to fight to survive. And I mean, if you're the most aggressive, you will dominate. Look at Trump. Trump's a billionaire. Has he ever backed down on any negotiations ever?
Yes. More recently, he has backed down on this Muslim man. And that makes him look very bad in my eyes.
Why did he back down on the Muslim ban? I thought he had a pair of balls.
Because he had so much flack from everyone. That actually cost him. He lost his campaign manager, and now he's kind of looking at it under softer, rose-colored glasses. But yeah, he has. What gave Trump all of his power politically was that he basically told America, we're going to get rid of the Muslims, we're going to get them out of our country, and everybody in America was like, hell yeah, let's do this. And now because he's caught so much flack from everyone, because you've got to realize something. Everybody thinks of a Muslim and they think a little poor man in a mud hut, living in the middle of nowhere, and the most of his wealth is a stick with a string on it somewhere.
No.
The Middle East has a bunch of oil. There are a lot of very, very wealthy Muslim people. And here's the thing, there are a lot of very wealthy Muslim people supporting the U.S. government under certain ways.
Yep.
And so when Trump said this Muslim ban, what he didn't realize is there are Muslims in the Supreme Court justice in America.
Well, I don't doubt it. I mean, if it is westernized Muslims that want peace, that say, hey, look, I am me, you are you. Do what you do, just keep it away from me.
But see, they won't say that. That's kind of looking at things under rose-colored glasses again. What you're not looking at is, it's not about allowing the other man to do what he wants to do. It's about control and power. It's about the rich and greedy wanting the other man to do what they want them to do.
See, that's why the world confuses me, is the most aggressive is the one that actually wins in just about everything.
Well, that's because the most aggressive one is not willing to give up the fight until they're dead.
Yep, that's how we founded America, and now look at us.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that never at any point did America just decide to give the power to the government. But over the course of many wars and many lies and much corruption, America has lost its power to a corrupt government. And now we have a democracy where the top 1% of the ruling class is wealthy and in power and sitting at their tables, dinner tables, getting fat, laughing at the poor, working, struggling man. And what does the average American do? They go and they work. They work more hours per week now than they did 10 years ago, and they make less money. And the reason for it is more taxes to make these rich bastards in office fatter so they can laugh harder at us. They don't care. The government does not care about its people, and it's not going to get better no matter who we vote for.
You do know that at this point in history, the laws have not changed. If all Americans came together, just stopped for 1 hour, came together, and sent phone calls to the government and said, we want this one or that one out of office, they would have to take them out of office.
Well, see, that's where you're mistaken. The laws haven't changed, but look at Obama's approval ratings. Even in his first term, he never had an over 50% approval rating. No one, or the majority of people, have never wanted Obama in office, and the dude did not have the dignity to step down. Not only did he not have the dignity to step down, he didn't want to step down. He's got the power, he's got the money, and he doesn't care.
Well, the issue was never really pushed hard enough to get him out of there.
The issue shouldn't have to be pushed hard enough if his approval rating is below 50%. His approval rating dropping below 50% means most of the country, the majority, doesn't want him there. Now,
Yep, but we're not doing anything. Like, look, if everybody banded together and said, "Hey, government, we're not working for you no more. Fuck you," and run them out,
what you're,
then
what you're talking about is called a revolution. And the reason that that hasn't happened is because we don't have the power now. I think you would see in the long run that if everybody did band together and say, "Hey, government, we want him out," what would actually happen is the government would say, "Come and make us. We will view you as hostile and attack." That is where we're at in modern politics.
well, see, I believe a revolution has to happen because we've got to remind the government that they work for us, not us working for them.
Let me ask you something. Do you remember that guy that tried to climb the fence and get to the White House?
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
He shouldn't have done that. A house that his tax dollars paid for, and he didn't have the right to climb that wall? Excuse me.
He had the right to climb the wall. He had the right to walk into it if he wanted to.
But
But
yet
if
he
he,
got treated as a hostile, and I don't know if he got shot dead or if he got drug off to jail. But the fact of the matter is that the common man is now treated like more or less a worker class slave. And people want to say that we're free and we have choice. America does not have a voice. Me and you, brother, we live on the system. We're not ultra extravagantly wealthy people, but
nope,
we've known a few wealthy people.
yep,
How many wealthy people in your lifetime that you have known have you seen lose their homes to taxes, lose their businesses? The government is attacking the middle class.
pretty much. Did you
It's
know
not.
that they voted to give corporations the same right as individuals within America?
They're, well, here's the thing. They want to give corporate businesses the same rights as individuals in America. What rights do individuals have in America? That's just like the government saying, "Yeah, we'll give you the same rights we give the schlubs."
You do know about the UHDR, right?
The utter,
No, UDHR,
uh,
United Declaration of Human Rights. It's got 30 rights in it that they never taught us in school and they never mention and they infringe upon every day. But it is there for us to have those rights.
well, it's there for us to have those rights, but do we? Do we? I mean,
No, we don't. They're infringed upon every day because American citizens don't step up and say, "Hey, look, I have these rights. If you fuck with these rights, I will shoot you."
let me give you something. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to disagree with this statement, but I've got to say it. Okay? American rights have been being taken away for a long time, and they call it political correctness. Okay? Now, it's got to the point that if you don't kiss a person's ass, okay, that you're being impolitically correct. You cannot call uh, you cannot call a person of the African American persuasion several different things. It finally got to a point where you couldn't call a person of the African American persuasion a person of color. You have to call them African Americans. They aren't even from Africa. Not a damn one of them. Okay? And I'm not even talking about racism. I'm talking about
I know, D. I know. See,
that
the
would be like,
reason,
that would be like calling me a Spanish American because my great great ancestors were from Spain. I was born in America. I'm an American American, just as they are.
well, see, the reason that I laugh about that, did you know there was a federal ban on the word Negro?
Well, see, here's the funniest thing of all. There's a federal ban on the word Negro, but yet
Yep.
that is the color black in Mexico. You go to buy a box of crayons in Mexico, it's got Negro right there on it.
Well, see, that's what I was laughing about because you imagine all the black beans with Spanish labels that had to be redone because of Obama's bullshit.
See, the fact is that I am not a racist man. I am not a racist man, and I believe that everyone has equal rights. But here's the thing. Why is racism geared toward just attacking the white demographic? It doesn't make sense. A black person can get on TV and do the honky honky cracker shake,
Yeah.
okay? And we can't say a damn thing about it because they got it coming. They deserve to treat us. There ain't nobody that deserves to treat me or my family as lesser beings. Okay?
Exactly.
My family were American Indians. My wife's family was Irish. My family were slaves, okay, back in slave days. No one has the right to treat me as a lesser being, and I won't allow it.
Exactly. I'm a. This term doesn't get used a lot because feminism tries to shut it down. I'm what they call an egalitarian. I believe everyone of every gender and every race has 5 fingers, 5 toes, and the same potential in them that I do. No matter what their color, no matter where they come from.
Here's the thing about that. I would agree with you, except I've met people with 6 toes and 4 fingers, and, such
Well,
as
those are aberrations.
that. But
But
see, people don't want to talk about the topic of racism because they want to deny that it exists and they want to call it ignorant. But the fact is that racism does exist, and people are being oppressed. We're being oppressed by the government and political correctness, and we're being oppressed by other people. When
oh yeah, especially straight white males.
specifically straight white males, okay,
Yeah.
it's got to the point. It's got to the point now to where a person that was raised and indoctrinated to believe differently, okay, to believe that nature itself teaches us that a man and a man can't have a baby together, a woman and a woman can't conceive a child together, okay. Nature teaches us that it was meant to be man and woman to procreate, right? But
Yeah.
it's got to the point to where if a person were to say, well, I believe it's unnatural for people to be homosexual, well, suddenly I'm a bigot because I'm just looking at the facts and logistics of nature. It is not right. It's not sane.
Well, see, that's what I meant by aberration. The gays are an aberration. They are not normal to the way that the species propagates. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're just a little queer to me, and I'm using the actual definition of the word, which means strange.
Well, I mean, my thing is people will think that I'm being a racist bigot when
No, you're just telling the truth, man.
really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stand up for my own rights to think for myself. You
Yeah.
know, I have friends that are of all races. Okay, I really do. I have Japanese friends. I have black friends. I have Spanish friends. Okay, I've got family that is homosexual. I have homosexual family. I do. Okay,
Yep.
but the thing is I was forced by society and law that if I don't fully accept everything, I am a bigot. And that's not fair. That's taking my personal freedoms and rights away to say, hey, I disagree with that particular thing.
Yep.
It's just not cool, man.
Well, see, that's the way that I see it. Is I disagree with these cultures. I will never personally partake in these cultures.
I mean,
But as long as they leave me alone, I feel they have the right to exist somewhere out there by themselves.
for me, it's a little different. I mean, I even partake in some other cultures. I'm very fond of Japanese culture. I'm very fond of Asian culture. I consider myself a very culturally educated individual, honestly. Um, the point is that at point of persecution, I am forced to think a certain way. And if I don't act a certain way, I am a bigot. That's not giving me a freedom of choice. That's forcing me. That's
Yeah.
forcing my hand.
That's what I'm saying is they want to come in and then tell us to do things their way or we're the bad guy when they should just leave us alone and them and us leave them alone, you know?
I mean, I don't even believe people should leave each other alone. I believe everybody should work together. But I was in a web forum the other day, right? I believe
Yeah.
I believe in complete freedom. You know my spiritual beliefs. I don't want to go into it on YouTube publicly, but you know my spiritual beliefs, and I'm very devout in my spiritual beliefs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was I was in a forum the other day, and this person was talking about black magic, and he actually posted a what he believed was a spell. Now, I don't follow his religion, but I definitely tolerate it because he has the right to believe whatever he chooses to. He has the freedom to walk his own path.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't bring it into your house.
Right. So this guy was on the forums talking about black magic. He posted a spell and he spoke about it for a little bit. And this guy come in there, and I can only do an impression of him because this is the way that I took it. I'm not saying this is the way that he meant it, but word for word, this is what he said. You can't be talking about that. I'm Muslim and I find that offensive. Don't you know? You're not supposed to be like that. You can't do that here. And I just basically told him, I was like, look, dude, you're in an international forum that is worldwide where people have freedoms. This is not Islam. You can't impose your beliefs on other people, and everyone has the right to choose their own path to walk. I
Yeah.
personally have my own spiritual beliefs, but I not only tolerate other people's spiritual beliefs, I accept that they have them. My problem with this guy was is that he was trying to impose and enforce his beliefs on others.
See, that's what I meant by they have the right to exist as long as they don't bring it into my corner of the world and try to make me change what I am to suit them.
Well, in fairness toward everyone involved, everybody that possibly even the people that would be watching this, everybody knows how forums and message boards are. This could have just been some Gomer Pyle that was using the Muslim angle to try to intimidate or upset others. I don't necessarily believe he was a Muslim. I believe he was just somebody seeking attention and playing that card, if that makes any sense.
Well, see, I believe that's what's happened to the human race and society in a whole at today's date and time. All this he said, she said, I'm not this, I'm not that, gender neutral bullshit is because people have given up on being aggressive. They eat less meat, they get less protein to their brain, and then they become scatterbrained and ignorant and don't even know that they have a dick between their legs.
Well, see, here's what's up with that. People have kind of become complacent and worked their way into this more softer society of political correctness.
They're
But,
scatterbrained, man. That's what they are. Don't make up for them.
well, you kind of have to make up for them because if you really think about it, under some circumstances, it's not really their fault. They're a product of a corrupt system that made them that way, really.
Well, see, I don't believe in a corrupt system that made everybody the way they are exactly to date. I believe that
Consider,
the system is in place, but if you want to be a victim of the system, you will be. If
consider,
not, you will find ways around it.
consider this, though, okay? You say that it's not a corrupt system that made them that way, okay? Um, if you wanted to go and just express your opinions on homosexuals, truly, fully from the bottom of your heart, are you allowed to do that publicly without being persecuted and attacked? The system made you this way. It made me this way.
Well,
Our
you
hand.
see, there is anti-slander laws which apply to slandering a certain individual, but as far as the group goes, you can say that group does abhorrent things that I do not agree with, and I
Well,
will not.
first you have to understand the definition of what slander is. Okay?
Yep.
Slander, slander
Is
is when you say something about another person that is untrue. If a
Yep.
person truly did these things and they are truly guilty of those things, it is not slander to say it.
Exactly. That's pretty much what I'm saying. In my views, I see homosexuality as an abhorrent thing that is not good, but they have the right to do that as long as they keep it out of my home and do not make me partake in it. You see?
Well, see, that's just the problem there, isn't it?
Yeah,
With
they're coming into homes and making everybody partake in shit.
it's going to come to a point to where someday, brother, to not be considered a bigot, you're going to have to kiss a homosexual man right on his lips and throw him a little bit of tongue. And that's what a person will have to be not considered a bigot someday. That's how far society is pushing people.
That'll be the day that I go back to the original thing that America was founded on. Give me freedom or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death is what we were founded on.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, though? Think about this. Give me freedom or give me death. When society and the government has taken away all of people's power, not only has it taken away people's power, it's trying to take away their guns, their rights to defend themselves. Did you know that if someone breaks into your home, okay, and you shoot them dead, you could be brought up on murder charges?
Did you know there's stand your ground laws, home protection laws? All you got to do is take a knife, put it in their hand, and then you're not going to jail.
Yeah, but see, think about this. That is basically altering the truth of how it went down, though. You basically have to lie about what went down.
If the person does not have a weapon and you do not have bruises on you where they attacked you, then you can't call self-defense because there was nothing to defend from.
And there used to be a day. There used to be a day back in the 1700s and 1600s where it was basically like, well, there's somebody trespassing on my land, bang, 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 and they were rightfully in the law.
Uh, Surprisingly, that law is still in effect in Kentucky because I called the cops one time,
Uh-huh.
and the guy said that if he had given me 3 warnings, he could have shot me dead on his land for trespassing. If there was no trespassing signs and I got 3 warnings and it was on tape, as if he had called the police on me, then after 3 warnings, the guy could open fire. That's what the actual police said up here at the courthouse.
Well, I mean, that sounds to me like, our justice system, because, I mean, if you've been to court, as have I, in our local little justice system, you know that our justice system is run by one county attorney, and he has all the power. I know you've seen it happen in almost every case. The
Oh,
judge,
yeah.
the judge will look over at the county attorney before they make a call and actually directly quote, "What should we do?" And then the county attorney will say this, 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 or that, and that's what happens.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. And as far as I am personally concerned, I will drop a name on that because it is Wes Stevens, and
Yeah.
he has done me a couple of solids in the past
I mean,
where,
I'm not saying that he hasn't done me a solid. I'm not picking on the man personally. I'm picking on the justice system personally. One
oh,
man,
yeah.
one man who is not a judge should not be able to make the calls like that.
That's very true. That system should not be broken in the way that it is broken up here. But I will say that the man has done me a favor because I had run a stop sign. Well, I didn't run it. What I did was I slowed down, looked both ways, and kept going at 4 miles per hour. You know where the meat house is down there, where it's a junction instead of
Yeah.
a four-way or a three-way?
In other places, they call that a California stop, where you don't
Yep.
really completely stop. But here's the problem with that: if there's truly nothing coming, why does a person have to stop like a goober? I mean, really, sometimes you can clearly
Yeah.
see for miles there's nothing coming.
Well, this area right down there by the old stock barn, like you're going down to Milltown,
Uh-huh.
uh, it's a junction, is what it is, and there should be a yield sign there. And that's what West told the judge. Said that should be a yield sign. This shouldn't even be in play. And yet there is no yield sign there till today. It's still a stop sign, and they're still catching people in traps.
Man, what really gets me about the justice system locally here, close to us, is how they'll catch people for mundane, silly things like, oh, we got this guy for having a bag of pot, and now we're going to put him on drug court. And then you actually get into drug court. I've had friends that have been in drug court. And you know what the first thing they'll tell you is when you go to drug court? They'll be like, hey, man, have you smoked any pot? Oh, don't worry. Pot's not what we're after. We're after harder stuff like pills and dope. If you smoke a little pot, it'll be all right. But you got to be honest with me. And then, people will go home and they'll be like, well, they're not after pot. I'll smoke me some pot and still go to drug court and pass it. And they'll let it slide a month. They'll let it slide another month. They'll let it slide till you've got 2 weeks of drug court left. And then the guy will look at you and go, oh, I found pot in your system, buddy. We're going to have to put you back through the system for more money. I've seen that happen to so many people.
You know why they do that, don't you, D?
Yeah, they do that because they enjoy taking people's money. The fact that a person's money makes a difference in the justice system anyway isn't.
Yep.
It's just horrible, man. It's an abomination that a person's money makes a difference whether they go to jail or not. A person should not be able to buy their way out of problems.
Between what I see as extortion and entrapment,
yeah,
and the fact that the police have a certain quota, they have to do so many arrests on so many things in a month, is just it's a broken system, man. I mean, anybody going to jail for a drug that literally cannot kill you if you smoke a dump truck full of it at one time.
Well, see, this is the reason why the federal laws have become lax on marijuana. The reason federal laws have become lax on marijuana is the federal government does realize that a lot of these small towns like ours really are taking and abusing that system. They're pulling people over and getting them for having one duty in their car, and they're fining them thousands of dollars for drug court over this shit.
It's all about the money. It's entrapment and extortion on a thing that is not even classified as a drug. A drug is something that is made chemically by man. Marijuana is a plant, and they are trying to outlaw a plant. Yeah. That's why they are losing the drug war on marijuana. You can't outlaw a fucking tree because a tree will always grow.
I don't know if you realize this, man, but you can look this up on Wikipedia. You can look this up on the internet. This is true, okay? Look, there are some laws that are basically so stupid that there's just no excuse for them. I'll give you an example. Did you know, now, for the reasons beyond my understanding, I don't know why this is. If you had an ice cream cone in your pocket and walked
on Sunday,
on
Sunday and jaywalked at the square, you could get arrested.
No, dude. I mean, you can, if you jaywalk on Sunday, you can get arrested. But here's the thing. If you walk into a building and you have a big bulge in your pocket and someone shoots you dead, they're in the right because of that stupid law. Because they can claim, well, I thought it was a concealed weapon.
Yep. Well, on the books, I don't know if it's still there or not. Did you know that you can still beat your wife with a stick around as big around as your thumb one time during the course of your marriage?
Well, I mean, I've always looked at it personally like this. Any man that doesn't look at their woman like they're perfectly equal to them on a completely 50-50 level, well, they've got the wrong idea anyway.
Exactly.
I've always looked at that.
Exactly. That's why I say that it is a stupid law to have that law on the books. But yeah, man, the system is broken. People are not getting enough protein. They're going crazy. They don't know if they're male or female. And the strongest of us all is taking advantage of the fact that the weak are down there fucking off instead of doing something.
Well, I mean, the weaker can't even get stronger, man, because they're allowing, and of course, people are going to disagree with this, but I have to go this far with this. Before people want to disagree with this, I just want to say fuck you to those people, and their opinions don't matter. Okay, anybody that disagrees with what I'm about to say, well, their opinion means nothing.
Okay.
Okay, look, they're allowing all these illegal immigrants into the country to come and take over people's jobs. The poor man that is actually a hardworking American can't even get a job working in the tobacco anymore because all of these farmers, and yeah, my problem is the farmers. The farmers are like, yeah, I'm going to go hire me a team of them darn Mexicans. They'll work for 45 cents an hour, buddy boy. Yeah.
They actually work for 35 cents, but I agree with you so far.
Well, you see what I'm saying, though? And people want to make it sound stupid when somebody says they took our jobs. But they really do come in without any legal paperwork and take people's jobs. And then you've got people like my wife who literally does work a job, okay? She works an actual over-the-table job, okay? And her tax money, she gets half of her check taken every week, okay? And where does this money go? It goes to give illegal immigrants welfare so they can make more fucking babies.
Yep. Did you know that the gates to Mexico was supposed to have been closed 65 years ago? You don't see no gate open at Canada and us letting them in through Canada.
Well, the way I understand it, I mean, this is just my understanding of Canada. The way that I understand it about Canada is they're basically little America. We can go back and forth from Canada, and so can they, pretty much as we please. I think we're buddies with Canada.
We're buddies with Mexico. We're buddies with Canada. Canada is actually a part of the monarchy from England. And Mexico is their own standalone third world nation.
Actually, Canada is not from England. Canada is actually from France.
Well, you understand what I mean. They're still working on a monarchy, though.
Have you ever heard the term French Canadian?
Oh, yeah, they're all over the place. Half of them speak French.
Well, the reason that we have French Canadians is because I don't remember exactly. It might have been I think it was the War of Independence when we fought for our independence. France helped us. They came in and they helped us win that war, and so we gave them Canada.
Did you know that we also ran them up there during the French-American War?
I didn't realize there was a French-American War. I need to study up on my history a little.
Yes, there was. That was the war where Indians actually started scalping people because they were offered money to work for either side, but they had to bring back scalps to prove that they had killed soldiers, and they got so much for each scalp.
Either way, man, my family, it comes down like this. I'm not asking anybody to believe it because I don't care if they do or not. This is just the origins of where my family came from. My family started when Sir Francis Drake escaped with the Queen of England's money. And if you know the story of Sir Francis Drake, he had all her money, man. He had to hide. He settled down in America with an Indian woman, and thus began my family.
Yep. I can see that happening because mine was 4 Scottish brothers who had fought in.
I could present you with paperwork off of FamilyTree.com. It traces it all the way back.
Oh, yeah, it's called a genealogy. I've got about 80 pages on mine, too.
I sent off for it, I think, about 7 years ago. It cost me $180.
Yep. Well, see, my uncle, Twain, the guy I told you works in telecommunications, and that's all I'm going to say on that subject. He had done a genealogy, and it come back that we originally started in America from 4 Scottish brothers who had done fought in 2 wars that Scotland, England, and Ireland all had going on at the time. And when they come to get them for the 3rd war, they said, fuck this shit, we're going to the New World.
Hey, I just had an idea.
Huh?
You know, there are some other YouTubers, man, like say Rhett and Link, some other YouTubers. They made a living out of just talking. This
Oh
is
yeah.
what we this is what we should do, man. We should just have a talk show. We should Skype or something.
At least once a day for about an hour, man. I mean, shit.
I mean, we could get this going on. You know, um, I don't think we'll ever make any money off of YouTube, though. I see a lot of the bigger YouTubers, man, leaving YouTube.
Well, what YouTube is trying to do is they're trying to become a TV station. They're trying to put TV out of business.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I can see net streaming and streaming services putting TV out of business. I think that's been coming for a long time. But what I don't like is the unfair rules imposed on people. Believe it or not, brother, me and you have had a Google Hangouts conversation. Somewhere in this world, there's somebody that's ready to copyright strike this shit.
They can copyright strike me all they fucking want. My ideas are my ideas. They came from my brain. If somebody else had the same idea before me, congratulations. We think alike. We are assholes of the same color.
For me, it's like this, man. You saw my YouTube channel. I don't mess with it a whole lot anymore because it really doesn't matter what you do. There's going to be somebody if you make a popular video, because I had a couple of videos that were more popular than others. And as soon as you get one that's popular, there's some little teenager out there that gets wet looking at it, goes, "Oh, copyright strike, click."
Oh yeah. They either do that or they flag you for having an opinion that does not match their own because it personally offends them.
Well, my opinions are mine, and they came from my brain, just like yours came from your brain, and they don't belong to anybody else.
Exactly. You know what my grandpa used to say about opinions?
They're like assholes. Everybody's got one.
And they all fucking stink. You got it right, D.
Yep.
I believe I probably told you that before.
Oh, that's an old saying, man. Lots of people have that one.
Is it? My grandpa used to say that all the time.
I mean, I really don't know what to think about the world, man. We've got Hillary running, and what I don't get is like just look at the media. Examine not what Hillary Clinton says. Examine her body language. Examine her facial language. Examine what her eyes are telling you. You can see that woman is a psycho. Okay, she only cares about winning.
You do know that she willingly covered up. This is what is supposed to have happened. I cannot confirm or deny, but there is major evidence that she willingly covered up 4 deaths of U.S. Marines in a place called Benghazi that was supposed to be some type of secret for some reason.
Are you kidding? Have you not been watching the news, brother? There's evidence that Hillary Clinton funded and started ISIS. Have you not seen this? Look,
I haven't seen that one, but I do know Americans started the whole damn thing with the Al Qaeda and the Taliban.
Here's what's up. Hillary Clinton put together a group of the people who were fighting Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda, of course, you remember the Osama bin Laden stuff that we had with the trade centers and everything, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, she put together ISIS, a group of people that wanted to fight Al Qaeda because they were pissed. Okay? She gave them guns, she gave them money. And not only did she start and fund ISIS before ISIS turned against America, okay? All right? After that, she had several U.S. citizens killed to silence them from leaking the story.
That sounds about right. I'm trying to find a way.
That's not just about right. That's factual on paper, dude. That's why Hillary's going through. And then, of course, we've got Donald Trump. A lot of people think that Trump is going to be this great president that's going to fix everything. What they don't realize is the appeal with Donald Trump is he's got this 1980s power business shark mojo going on for him. He does not care about the common citizen. He's proven that. And the only real good that will come from Trump is Trump doesn't care to start and fight a war. He's not going to help Americans. He's just going to fix the war stuff.
Can you see my screen at press? Oh, that's an infinite loop. I need to stop that. Have you ever heard of this thing called Charlie's War? It's a movie.
Charlie's War. I don't think I have. Let me go get some water while you're pulling that up, and I'll be right back.
All right. Just for the record, it's called Charlie Wilson's War.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. This is a movie called Charlie Wilson's War.
Oh, Tom Hanks. Okay, yeah.
Now, the plot of this movie, right here, a drama based on Texas Congressman Charlie Wilson's covert dealings in Afghanistan, where his effort to assist rebels in their war with the Soviets during the Cold War, they were giving them weapons to fight off the Soviets, so the Soviets didn't take over the Middle East.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Have some foreseen and long-reaching effects. When we gave them weapons to fight Russia and keep Russia out, we fucked up because they turned those weapons on us. And because Hillary Clinton is a liberal and wants everybody to have peace and rainbows, she has given them more fucking weapons, which founded ISIS. I can see that happening.
Well, see, here's the thing about Hillary and her peace and her rainbows. I knew that Hillary was full of shit the very second that she tried to appeal to the tinfoil hat demographic. Do you know what the tinfoil hat demographic is?
That's what I call the crazy feminists. There's good feminists and there's bad feminists. Bad feminists I put into the tinfoil hat demographic that doesn't know what the hell's going on.
The tinfoil hat demographic, as I call it, is the people who don't even realize what's going on in the real government. They're the people that are sitting around, giving these stories like, oh, aliens and technology, we're being abducted in anal probe. Let's put on our tinfoil hats and wait for the aliens to come. I knew that Hillary Clinton was full of shit the very second she got on TV and was like, look, if I'm made president, I will reveal everything about aliens. And she did make a video saying she would get to the bottom of it and reveal everything. Well, now, when you appeal to the dumbasses, okay, trying to get the dumbasses to vote, that just proves that she's desperate.
I will cut that story short by telling you that I know there is such a thing as intelligent life somewhere else, possibly on this planet.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not intelligent life. What I'm saying is you've got groups of people who look at science and they look at the possibility that there's other life out there and they consider these possibilities intelligently. And then you've got the people that's like, oh, I talk to Jasper Sparath. He speaks to me in my brain and he tells me the world is coming at a time. No, those people are fucking insane. They're idiots.
There's nutcases in every department. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, D. There is nut jobs in every department.
I believe in the possibility of extraterrestrial life. I believe that more than likely it's out there. I believe that more than likely they visited us. But I don't believe Destico Flarian speaks to some fat chick in a trailer into her mind telling her to save the world because it's dying. That's just bullshit.
I agree with you on that one. Have you ever seen this, man?
Oh, yeah, that's been going on for years. There's a belief that by some people that the royal people in England, they inbreed. And the reason that they inbreed is that they believe that their blood is possibly extraterrestrial, and that's why they want, they believe their bloodline to be royal.
I will tell you only this that I know for sure. Uh, the Scots, the people I come from,
Uh huh.
they were known as the Blue Men because they would take blue paint and they would take red from the dead bodies of their victims and smear it with themselves. They fought off the Roman Empire. I don't know how in the fuck they got pushed up to Scotland, but they did. I guess the Roman Empire pushed some of them up there. I will tell you that one of my ancestors did kill what he called a blue blood, and he swore that it bled blue.
Well, here's the thing of what a lot of people don't realize about blood. Blood only turns red when oxygen hits it.
True,
I
due
mean,
to the iron in it.
why do you think that when people pass away, they turn blue?
Because there's no oxygen going through them.
The oxygen's not pumping. Um, Blood has a almost dark royal blue color to it until it directly hits oxygen. So I mean, in a way,
But
everything's blue-blooded.
you got to realize that when this guy killed him, there was no such thing as syringes. It was a claymore sword to the freaking neck, and he said the blood when it come out of him, exposed to air, was still blue.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that there's not something that couldn't change the color of a person's blood. Do you know anything about silver nitrate poisoning? You're right there at Google, man. Look it up.
Let me show you something. You
Well,
see that, dude?
yeah. Now, is that copper nitrate or is that copper poisoning?
The copper within our bodies, the trace elements we have, if it's higher than the iron count, then the blood will be blue.
Now, here's what I want you to look up since you're right at Google. Look up silver nitrate poisoning.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the Smurf guy.
Yes.
What I was talking about is the lack of iron in the blood.
Well, they claim that there are certain people that can have a copper-based blood, but that happens when Rh negative people get sick.
Well, see, that's if you take a Rh negative family and just inbreed them and inbreed them and inbreed them, there's going to be low iron because they're going to be sick.
Now, for people that are watching the video because they may not know, this is a true story about certain people in the world will actually drink silver nitrate, and it will turn your skin permanently blue. The reason that people do this was in the olden times, the 1800s, people believed silver nitrate to be a holy thing. They believed silver to be blessed. And so they would chop silver up into a powder and drink it, thinking that this blessed powder would heal their ailments. And over time, it would turn people blue.
Did you know they did the same thing with amethyst and there was something else? They would grind amethyst into a powder because it absorbs alcohol,
Uh-huh.
and they would swallow a teaspoon of it, and when they went to a drinking contest, they could drink nonstop without damaging their liver and getting drunk.
Well, that was how they won their contest, though. I
Oh,
had heard that there were people back in the olden days, because it was quite common. The olden days standoffs and diplomatic meetings with people, it was pretty cool because the movies aren't so far off. There were people that before they would get into a terrible fight would sit down and have a drink first. That was actually common back in the older days. Back in the days of chivalry and such as that.
yeah.
And you can take a spoonful of that amethyst, okay, that powdered amethyst, and it would actually absorb the alcohol and give you the advantage over the other guy when it was time to fight.
Yeah.
That is actually the whole amethyst thing that comes from Japan and China.
Do you know about the Mad Hatter?
Yeah, the dyes in their hats is what drove them crazy.
Yeah, Mercury.
Well, no, it wasn't just mercury. Some of the chemicals in the dyes and the colors of the hats for them working with the fabrics, because back in these older times, there was your normal fabrics that poor people could wear, and then there were these really pretty, expensive fabrics that were colored with all of these chemicals that were actually poisonous to people. And the reason that the Mad Hatter came around was that people that were tailors and haberdashers, they worked with those expensive fabrics all the time, and they would over time get poisoned by these chemicals.
Oh yeah. If you look, I have it up right here about where they used mercury to crease the brims of hats like derbies and top hats,
Uh-huh.
and it would sink in to their skin, and somehow it affects the brain to throw off the chemistry, and boom, there you go, Mad Hatter.
Yeah. Well, see, what people don't realize about mercury is that once it actually gets in your body, the reason that it poisons you is it disrupts the way oxygen reacts to cells in the body. So it's basically like you're permanently suffocating from the inside.
Yeah, it causes brain damage because it can't get oxygen. Um, that's why they used to have the saying "mad as a hatter."
And a lot of people think, because they don't study up on things, that the whole Mad Hatter idea comes from Alice in Wonderland. You know, but
Oh, a
you
lot
know,
of your
go ahead.
a lot of your fantasies and myths actually imitate real life.
I'll be right there. Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of people believe you're at Google right now. I want to tell you something. Now, I'm not a big fan of the what's the name of those movies? I can't never remember. Lord of the Rings. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of the whole Lord of the Rings mythos. A lot of people got into it. What a lot of people don't realize is, did you know that hobbits were actually a real thing? Hobbits existed.
Yep.
Now, it's not like the hobbits from the movies. What an actual hobbit was back in the olden times what they called a dwarf-like person, a very short person.
A pygmy.
But they just called them hobbits back then. But basically,
Hmm.
what hobbits were, without trying to be as politically correct as I'm not trying to offend anybody that's got dwarfism, but the term midget does exist. I'm sorry, it does. People use the word commonly, even though you don't think they do. I'm sorry. Um, so,
Well, I actually did some studying on that because mom's not over 5 foot tall, and midgets are 3 foot and under, and dwarfs are 5 foot and under.
um, I don't really know the links on them. An interesting conversation for us to have is how bones and skeletons of giants have been found. But for some reason, and I don't really know the reasoning behind it, but for some reason, modern archaeology doesn't give it much note. Um, the reason that this is important that giants were found, though, Tate, is check this out. You know from history that because of dietary changes, that we're actually a great deal taller than most people were 2,000 years ago.
Actually, I believe we're shorter because if you think about it, there was giants.
Yes, but here's the thing: we don't come from giants. We already know where giants came from. The story of the Nephilim. We're not
Oh yeah.
descended. We're not descended. We don't have gigantism. what a lot of people don't realize is you look at a person that's tall today, there's probably even a very, very tall man that walks around, maybe even watching this video someday in the future thinking, well, I'm a giant. No, you're not a fucking giant, okay? Giants were 9 to 15 feet tall, okay? If you are if you are 8 feet tall, you are not a giant. You're just a very, very tall fucker.
Very true, very true.
But now here's what you have to understand. Back in the days, 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, we have dug up skeletons, brother. Most people were not over 5 foot tall back then.
Yep.
People are taller now. Now you have to look at the contrast. We had people that were on average, your tallest person was 5 foot tall back then, and then we had 9 foot giants, 9 to 15 foot giants. Okay, we've got the skeletons of these people.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, see, that's where my beliefs kind of branch off from where yours is, because I accept the Book of Enoch to be a part of the Bible, where the major church doesn't.
Well, you have to do more studying before you accept the Book of Enoch. You really have to study, because I've studied the Apocrypha. Do you know what the Apocrypha is?
No, I didn't read all the way through the Book of Enoch, but I did read.
You can believe whatever you choose to believe. You're free to do so. But let me enlighten you on some things, though, just for the sake of knowledge in this video.
Yep.
Back in the olden days, people didn't have TV or the internet, and a lot of people didn't even have the ability to read and write. So people passed their stories through word of mouth. Okay? It was very common, okay, back in the olden days, that people would add their own things to stories and even create their own stories. This even happened with the Holy Bible. There were several books. This is why the King James Version of the Bible was so important. There were several books added to the Bible at one point that were basically fairy tales, okay? And King James had to see fit to see those books removed.
Mm-hmm.
The Book of Enoch was part of the Apocrypha, brother, which was basically campfire stories and fairy tales. This is actually proven that the Book of Enoch was apocrypha. But here's the thing. You're allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in. I'm just saying that it is an apocryphic book that was removed because it was a made-up story, brother.
Well, the reason that I accept the Book of Enoch is because it biblically gives us a point and date where the white race actually come about.
Well,
because Noah's grandfather, Enoch, he said Noah is white. He's white like the fallen angel.
Well, yeah, but there's a reason for that. Well, actually, no, never mind. I'm getting Noah and Moses mixed up. Moses was white because of that thing which, bleached his hair on top of the mountain. I'm getting
the burning bush.
Yeah. I was getting my two dudes mixed up for a second. But here's the thing about that. If you read the story of the Tower of Babel, brother, you can see that the Bible gives an explanation to why there's different languages and different races of people. God scattered people because they were all working together to defy God. People wanted to build this tower and just march their way into heaven against God's will.
Yep, that's kind of what I see the space program as right now.
Well, here's the thing.
It's just like aliens that everybody's so curious about. I think that that's God's little extra credit stuff he's done on the side that he was trying to keep from us because we were not ready to know.
Well, I mean, if we want to get into just straight thoughts about that, here's my thing. A lot of people want to consider, like, well, why Jesus and why is Jesus so important to us? And here's why I believe. But you got to realize this is all based on just my beliefs and thoughts. This is not straight biblical talk here. This is just my opinions. I believe Jesus is important to us because in the end, Jesus will be the one that watches over and takes care of us. I believe that God, the Creator, is off creating things. I believe that the reason Jesus is a mediator is because we couldn't personally reach God because God's off somewhere in another galaxy creating other life somewhere.
That's why the galaxy is infinitely expanding.
Universe.
Universe. That's why the universe is infinitely expanding. You know, my grammar. Well, my verb was wrong for that. Oh, that was a noun, wasn't it? My noun was wrong.
Yeah, because a verb is an action.
Yeah, a noun is a person, place, or object or thing.
But it's kind of like this. Here's my personal belief without just digging into biblical scripture. I believe that it's a thing that God does. He's a creator, and he's off in other places creating other things. And, what's going on there is we've got Jesus. Jesus is the one that we go through as our mediator. He's our connection to God. But God himself, well, he's off creating life infinitely in other places.
Yep. That is his job title.
Creator, yes.
Yep.
And see, a lot of people think, well, God's just sitting up there on a throne, just waiting for the time to jump down. No, man, no. Jesus is up there waiting for us. God, although God can be everywhere and God can hear your prayers, and he's off in another galaxy, possibly another universe, creating life somewhere. He's a creator. It's not like a creator's just going to stop creating.
Nope. If I was building a box, you came to my house to talk to me, you would be talking to me while I was building the box. I wouldn't stop building the box.
It's my personal belief that God enjoys creating life. That it gives God a fulfillment to create living things, and that him creating us and us earthlings here on earth just wasn't enough. He wants to create more life, and so he's off doing that. That's my thoughts on it.
Yep, that's why I say that aliens are one of his side projects that we were not supposed to know about until we were ready.
Honestly, dude, the way that I look at it is like this. He separated our own people into different races and scattered us. In this lifetime, we will never be ready, I don't believe, in God's eyes. We won't be ready to meet other life until Judgment Day and afterlife. Because it says in the Bible, we'll see things that we never thought imaginable, wonders. We won't meet aliens until the afterlife, in my opinion.
Okay, I have brought up a definition.
Yes, I've looked up the definition of alien. It means foreigner. Technically, the Muslims are aliens. I get that.
Yep. Well, not that. It's the whole thing that drives people away from me when I state that God is literally, by definition, a alien.
Well,
Um,
alien really may not technically truly apply, but the word extraterrestrial. If you look up the definition of extraterrestrial, a word that people often mistake for alien,
yeah,
it
not
has
of Earth.
extraterrestrial has a different definition, brother.
Extraterrestrial means not of Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty suave at the English language, although I'm shit at speaking it.
I didn't used to be as good at it as I am now, but my wife, she was an English major all throughout college, and
Okay.
it's my English is very much improved.
Oh yeah, I can tell, D. It's where I don't talk much. Right there's your definition.
Exactly. And you'll see how a lot of people will interchange the terms extraterrestrial and alien to mean the same thing. But those are two words with two very different definitions.
Oh yeah, that's where I was getting a little sidetracked. But to me, alien, since pop culture has
Yeah.
drilled it into our brain, is something that is extraterrestrial.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because of the modern usage of the word. Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
pop culture. That's just like gay used to mean happy.
I've seen people in the forums, man. Yeah, gay did used to mean happy, and
Yep.
personally, I think they just wanted to change the word to gay because homosexual sounded too offensive to them.
I've got a good question for you, D. And if there is any gay listeners out there, I also want to ask you this question, and maybe you can enlighten me more.
Wait a minute, I gotta get this straight. I gotta get this straight for a second. You got the question for me, okay? And then
And no,
any.
I'm not in. I'm not insinuating. I just want to ask everybody across the board, including the gays, because it does pertain to them.
Hey,
Why in the huh?
I'll give you a hint. A very acceptable PC term is an LGBTYN community.
Fuck that! I ain't changing the English language for them.
Hey man,
I I refuse to call somebody a transsexual unless they're in the process of chopping their dick off.
I refuse to call somebody a transsexual unless they're in the process of having sex with a train.
But anyway, the definition of gay used to mean happy. The definition of fag used to mean a bundle of sticks, and the definition of queer used to mean strange.
Right. So what would a gay
So,
bachelor be?
what in the fuck, or when in the fuck, did a happy stranger with a bundle of sticks become or have to do with anything that is homosexual?
Okay, in truth, I'm, not trying to be offensive. I've got family that's, homosexual. Um, not trying to be offensive. I think that it's the political correctness struggles and sensitivity that other people have. They don't want to be called these old archaic words that sound offensive to them. That's why, you cannot call a black person, or an African American individual a person of color anymore. You,
Well, see, I believe that's America's problem. We're too sensitive. If a black guy approached me today, we know that we are from two different sects. We are from two different races of human beings, according to that German guy in the 15th century. Yada yada blah blah. But both races are equal. Why can we not look at each other's differences as a good thing, accept them,
see,
and move on?
that's exactly where I stand on the issue because I believe truly from the bottom of my heart that all people were created equal, every last one of them. So some people were born with maybe possible birth defects that put them at a disadvantage, but all people have equal rights and equal values. And
Exactly.
my biggest problem is that people can get on TV and saying honky honky cracker cracker honky honky cracker 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 honky, and us white people we just have to stick a thumbs up in the air and go, "You're so cool, black man, for calling me a honky cracker." Yuck. What the
Me,
hell ever.
I
You know,
don't give a shit as long as I can refer to him in the negative term for a black man and him not get upset. I would be okay with
well,
that because that shows that we are on the same level.
that's the thing, man. Racism will never die because people will always be looking for ways to be to feel superior to other people. Okay,
Yeah.
um, there will always be greed and superiority complexes that people have. Even if the black-white racism thing does die down, which I see it's dying down a lot. It's not like it used to be, and it's getting much better. You know,
Uh,
well, no, you have to be fair. You have to be fair because I make a big deal out of people getting on TV. Color, African American, people of color getting on TV and saying, honky honky cracker cracker. but you don't see that much anymore. You know,
Not in real life, no.
yeah, things really are changing for the better as far as black-white racism and relations go. They really are, and you see a lot of channels of a lot of intelligent people that are do I say African American? Do I say black people? I don't know. I'm trying not to be offensive, but you know,
Me, I don't give a shit. I know they're of a different culture, but I accept that culture, and as long as they're willing to,
but there's a lot of people on both sides of the fence that realize this. You you will meet you will meet a great number of very intelligent black people, okay, that will say, yes, I agree with you that, a black person should not be able to get away with the honky honky cracker cracker stuff.
oh yeah,
Because they truly, from the bottom of their hearts, want all racism to just disappear and die. You know? And so
yeah.
you can't really look at it as a racist thing anymore. It's just
Well,
in some places there will always be, certain people that are ignorant and filled full of hate.
see, I'm a little more hardcore in my belief. I believe that everybody is racist. Everybody has the worst of humanity in them, and it can come out at times. But if each of us accept that we have the worst of humanity in us, then we can progress towards the best.
Well, I won't go as far as to say that everybody is racist because every once in a while I will go as far as to say most people, largely by far, are. But every once in a while you run into this person, and I know you've seen them yourself, that you can tell truly from the bottom of your heart has complete acceptance for everyone in their hearts and has no racism. I've met people like that. I know they.
Yeah, I know who you. I know what you're talking about. I personally have not met a person like that, but yeah.
I have. I've seen people like this, and those people do exist. So you've got to give those people some props. They're completely ready for equality for everyone. I've met people like that.
Oh, I very well do, man. Those are good people. But me, I will admit I have a little bit of racism in me because of the culture that comes with most other races of people. I don't like the culture. It's not the race itself. They could be
Well,
black and do everything a white person does, and I'll respect them more than if they were out gang banging and selling drugs.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. It's not really racism. What I've got. What I've got is what I would call mentalism. Okay, my
Yeah,
mentalism. My mentalism is this. I cannot tolerate ignorance. Okay? Ignorance and hatred, I can't tolerate it. I think people that are completely ignorant and filled full of hate, those people should be wiped off the face of the earth.
that's understandable.
You know?
But me, I don't hate them for the cultures. I just don't accept them, and I don't want to be a part of that culture. So, to be fair, I'm not really racist. I am xenophobic, would be a better definition.
Well, I mean, I don't think the problem for me is the acceptance of other cultures. I consider myself very cultured and I accept other cultures. Let me give you an example. I used to be very, very into the Asian and Japanese culture
Hmm.
until I realized something. Unless you are Asian or Japanese, they don't think very much of you at all.
Exactly.
And because of their ways and their unwillingness to accept, that make me not want to accept them. It's not a racism, okay? Because
Yeah.
I didn't dislike them to start with. You know what I mean? It's not a racism.
It's called xenophobia.
It's their unwillingness to want to accept me because to them I'm a Gaijin or a Gaijin, a
Yep.
foreigner. And they will never see me as anything different. And I don't feel that's fair.
I understand what you're saying. It's the way I see it, man. Okay, here's in depth so that you might understand it me more. All right. The color of a person's skin does not make a shit to me.
Well, but before you continue, I would like to throw this. I'd like to throw this down. If people could really look at it like this, I want to equate, all races of people to a basket full of puppies. Okay, I know
Yeah.
this might not be something that everybody would go for, but if you look at a basket full of puppies, little baby puppies, is there a single puppy in there that's not cute and adorable? You love all the puppies, right? And and,
I
and,
don't know. I've
and
seen some ugly and mean puppies.
I love all animals, man. I don't know what it is about animals. Animals just seem to have this loyalty and devotion to them that a lot of humans don't even seem to possess.
Oh,
I,
that's true.
I really have a lot of respect for animals, man, for real. Um, if I saw a basket full of puppies, there could be the black puppy, the white puppy, the spotted puppy. They are all equally cute and adorable to me and wonderful, you know. And
Yeah.
I think people are like that too. I could accept every single culture and every single belief, but the ones that don't accept me, the ones that look at me and say, "Well, you're different because," or we don't like you because. I
Yeah.
can't accept people who won't accept me. You know,
Yeah. That D, you're different from me. I accept you. I accept your views. I agree with your lot of views. Some views I don't. But at the end of the day, you're a person, five fingers, five toes, and you're a good guy, so you're my friend.
well, you're my friend, and I accept your views. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, but here's the thing. No matter how you feel about things, you've got the right to feel that way, and that's how I view others. You know,
Yeah. Well, when it comes to outside cultures, as long as you know they're not going to have a negative impact on your life, then you can accept that culture and move on. But if you look at, for example, the Muslims is the worst, they are by far end at the very end of the board. They are our enemies. Now, whether we want to say this publicly or not, they are our enemies. They biblically, truly, and faithfully want to destroy us.
as, as far as I can understand, now you have to realize
Yeah.
I don't know all the facts and figures about everything, but as far as I know, this may actually be coming from ignorance, and I use the term ignorance as in a lack of actual factual information about what the Muslims truly are. Okay? But I will say this from my understanding, what the Muslims want more than anything is if you do not convert to their religion, they want you dead. That's from what
Yep.
I understand. You know?
It's, you remember the Spanish Inquisition?
Yes.
It's that still going on.
Well, you have to think about it. They want to give everything a different name. That's like what we were talking about earlier with the groups of people going and changing their names and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, they want to give it a different name and pretend to be a different faction. But in the end, hate is hate, ignorance is ignorance, pain is
Yep.
pain, intolerance is intolerance. And I mean,
Yep.
it's the same enemy just with a shiny new wrapper.
But my xenophobia that I referred to earlier about not accepting certain races because of the culture that comes with them is just like that. If it's a negative impacting culture that is going to slow down progress and hurt the community, then why should we let them in?
If we knew for a fact that they were going to hurt the community, we should not let them in. But here's the thing a person has to have a heart to a certain degree. If a person comes to my door and says, I need food or water, I'm starving, or I'm hurting, or I'm in pain, I would feel every compulsion to want to help those people. And here's what's up. You also have to we're looking at the Muslims like they're the enemy. But what we're not looking and seeing, they're fighting each other over there and killing each other too. There
Oh
has
yeah.
to be there has to be some truly innocent Muslims amongst the mix.
Yeah, they're the ones that's getting stoned to death for not going with the rest of them.
You know,
Hmm. Well, if you look deep, and I know you're not going to like this, if you look deep, black culture has not progressed much at all in America.
Here's the thing about that. I feel that truthfully, okay, if black culture hasn't progressed much, you know, I see where you're coming from, okay, I truly do, because we look on TV and we see people like Kanye West and these media people. Well, sure, the media wants to tie one to a string and dangle them around and say, hey, look at this guy that made it. Look at that guy that made it, like Bill Cosby or whatever. And that's really just rubbing it in people's faces that no, they haven't made it. But they haven't truly, really, truly, they haven't been given the opportunities, man. But then, neither have me and you. I mean, I'm not saying white people haven't been given the chances, but I know that personally, me and you haven't been given the opportunities either.
Oh, that's another thing. I had a black guy tell me check my privilege. What fucking privilege?
Yeah, really.
I went to the Social Security office, which is also the food stamps, and they handle what's called a spin down card.
I've heard of those. I've heard of
What
those.
a spin down card does is allow you to pay so much on each doctor or office visit to a dentist instead of paying the full price until you pay it all off. You get to do it in payments. Did you know that office here in Kentucky, Monroe County, I'm calling out names on these motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, okay, but look, check this out. Before you continue, I already know where this story is going. They
Yep.
probably they probably had somebody pull you off to the side and said, "Look, if you were Latino or black, we could help you, but we can't." Yeah,
They they told me clearly if I wasn't black, a woman, or a child under the age of 18,
that they could have helped you.
that they could have helped me if I was one of those three things. But since I'm white, male, and over 18, there's no reason for me not to have made it in America.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Yeah, this is a true story. I will hook up to lie detectors.
Look, man, look. I mean, me and my wife, I don't care to admit because there's people out there and they think, well, this guy's on YouTube, so he's probably driving his boat to work in the morning overseas. No, man, there's lots of poor people in this country, and I'm one of them. Okay. Now here's the thing. Me and my wife had tried to get help. Okay, and they basically told her the same thing. There was like, look, if you had a child under the age of 18 living there, or if you were what we consider a disadvantaged race, we can help you, but we can't help you because you're not these things. And we've been told this literally.
She couldn't push a minority or she couldn't push affirmative action.
Well, no, I mean, my wife, she's white like I am. We don't get affirmative action.
Got you. Got you.
You know.
Yep.
I would like to go ahead and say this while we're on the topic of affirmative action. The biggest example of affirmative action I've seen in the last, ever since I've been born anyway, and even looking through history, a black man got into office as the president on affirmative action. And you can say what you will, and anybody can say what they will and debate this, but how many people actually voted for Obama because it would have made history and helped racial relations just because he was black? Okay,
Everybody voted for him out of what's called white guilt.
I voted for him because I truly thought that he promised a lot of change, right? I didn't
Yeah.
realize, I didn't realize that he meant he was going to give us a little tiny stimulus package and then not do a damn thing for 8 years.
What he meant by hope and change is he's going to take your change while you hope he gives it back.
But I mean, Obama did get into the White House on basically what equates to affirmative action.
Have you seen what Obama did while in the White House?
Well, outside of getting on TV every few minutes and going, America, it's going to be this way. We just have to bend over a little harder and let it stick it in just a little deeper, America. Just a little deeper. Let the Muslims put just the tip in, okay? We'll be all right. I've not seen them do a damn thing.
Did you know? Hang on. Did you know that he passed a bill? It was a subdirectory in a bill, but he passed a bill to where he could use drone strikes in America while in office.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that he passed another bill? You remember 1940, I think, 7, when all the Japanese Americans were rounded up and threw into internment camps?
No, I don't remember that, but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
It happened during World War II because we were still fresh in World War III or World War One. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. But from World War One, when they done Pearl Harbor, I believe it was 37, and it was probably about a year or two after, because it takes time for them to pass bills and stuff. They rounded up all the Japanese Americans, put them in internment camps to keep them from doing any harm while in America in case there were covert spies. And yeah, they pretty much took Japanese Americans. They
Well, man, you're right there at Google. I want you to look up something called MK Ultra, Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, I know about that. I will just as soon as I finish this deal.
All right, but hey, man, I've got to go and start cooking dinner, man. It's dinner time. I haven't even had breakfast. I'm hungry.
Alrighty.
I want to eat my peanut butter sandwich and crackers, because that's what us poor people can afford.
Okie dokie, man. Well, do you want to drop this or?
Um, yeah, we'll drop this one and pick back up later.
Okie dokie.
I'd say this was already 2 hours long.
Really? I didn't pay attention to the time.
Yeah, there's nobody on earth ever going to listen to it all the way through, brother.
I'll have to chop this probably into 2 or 3 sections.
I would if I was you.
Yeah.
All right. Holler at me later, bro.
See you later, bub.
All right. See you, man.
Stop broadcasting. Stop sharing.